This group of friends created a monthly award. They went to this trophy shop and bought this giant trophy, and they had the front engraved, "The Idiot of the Month." And here was the rule. 2 kids in this friend group were permanently judges. They were banned from competing, and all month, every month, everybody else was eligible to be the Idiot of the Month. Basically, everybody would try to do the dumbest thing possible. Sometimes it was an accident, like calling a teacher mom or saying "I love you" to the milkman. Others did stuff on purpose, like shoving hands in a jar of peanut butter and running around the school shouting "milk." Then on the last Friday of every month, this friend group would all meet up. Now this entire time, these judges were clocking everything that happened, and there had to be proof or witnesses or a video of something happening. The judges would pick 3 finalists. The finalists would come up, they would announce their case, why they deserved the trophy, then the judges would deliberate and choose one winner. And that winner would get to keep the trophy in their room for the rest of that month. I forgot to mention that when the person was announced the winner, they would take the trophy to the trophy shop and they would have their name engraved on the open space at the bottom. After about a year, there were so many names engraved on this trophy that it became very prestigious to win. People were even fighting to be a part of this friend group because honestly, that sounds awesome, and I would definitely do that. This kid transferred into a new school halfway through 7th grade, and somehow within like 2 weeks, everybody wanted him as a part of their friend group. It was crazy. He was funny, he could talk to anybody, and because he was new, he wasn't really a part of any group yet, so every day at lunch, somebody different would yell, "Yo dude, sit over here."
"Yo dude, sit by me."
Eventually, people were arguing with where this kid was gonna sit. Well, the kid jokingly says, "All right, the highest bidder gets me tomorrow." And he wasn't actually expecting anyone to bid. Well, the next day, one kid brought him a king-size candy bar. Another one goes, "I'll give you my extra PlayStation 5 controller if you sit by me." One kid said, "You can come to the mall with me and my friends this weekend." Now this kid realizes, yo, they're serious, so he starts taking offers, not money offers, but stuff. One kid offered to let him borrow his bike. Well, after all the offers were made, he walks into the cafeteria, and everyone's waiting to see who he chooses. These guys. He sits down with the winning group, the kid that offered to lend him his bike, and they all celebrate that they just signed an NBA player. But here's the thing, every group had spent so much time trying to get him to be their friend, now everybody knew him, and he immediately became the most popular kid in his grade. Gotta respect it. This kid at this one school was actually pretty popular. Y'all, it's nice. He knew everybody, and because of that, he thought he could basically decide who was cool and who wasn't. The kid was actually kind of a bully. Well, there was one kid he didn't really like, and when he found out that that kid was having a birthday party, he started telling everybody, "Hey bro, do not go to that kid's party."
"Wait, my party?"
Yeah, he's a loser.
Oh man.
He was saying this to everyone. Yeah, guys, don't go to Johnny's party. We're gonna do something else this Saturday. And kids who weren't even planning on going to this party were like, yo, why does this guy care so much? Well, everyone thought the bully was being absolutely ridiculous for this. So people began asking the birthday kid, "Hey man, you mind if I come to your party this weekend?" "Oh, sure."
"Hey, you mind if I come to your party this weekend?"
"Yeah." The old kids told their friends. Then Saturday night at this kid's party, the house was packed. People who barely even knew him showed up, and they showed up with gifts. "Yo, guys, thanks for coming. This is the best birthday ever." Meanwhile, the bully's texting his friends, trying to make his own plans. "Yo, Squanny, what are you doing tonight, bud?"
"Oh, I'm at the party, dude."
"Whatever, bye."
"Hey, Billy, what you doing tonight, man?"
"Oh, I'm at the party, dude. It's awesome." What the? He keeps going down his list of friends, and every single person was at this kid's birthday party. His evil scheme to get people not to go completely backfired. And the kid whose party he tried to ruin ended up having the biggest, most funnest birthday party of the year. Good. Screw that bully. This kid bet his friend, "I bet you I can go an entire Saturday without using my hands." The entire Saturday. His friend was like, "Okay, but I picked the Saturday, and it's gonna be this Saturday, which is the same day as my birthday party." So the rule was, if he touched anything with his hands, he would lose the bet. His friend thought he maybe would last an hour, but no, this kid took it seriously. Opened doors with his feet, turned light switches on with his nose. He ate breakfast off a plate like a dog. Then Then that afternoon was his friend's birthday party. He gets there, and everyone's eating pizza. His friend goes, "Good luck, dude. You're definitely losing this bet." Kid looks around. Now, like I said, everyone's eating pizza. He's hungry. How is he gonna do this? So what he does is he goes to the old people table. "Hey guys, I'm not feeling too well today. Can one of you go get me a plate of 3 slices of pizza?"
Sure, kid, I'll go get you some pizza.
The old guy goes to get him some pizza, comes back. The kid says, "Oh, I'm not feeling too well, like I said. Could you please feed me the pizza?"
Sure, I'll feed you the pizza.
And the old guy starts feeding this kid the pizza. His friend is sitting all the way over at a different table and he's like, "No frickin' way, dude. That's crazy." Well, the kid wins the bet. Everyone's asking, "So how much did you guys make the bet for?" And he says, "Oh, $5. $5. And that's how hard he went on that bet. What a legend. Gotta respect it. There was a kid who was out to dinner with his family, and this woman at the table next to him was coughing hard. Yo, what? The lady's date stood up. Everyone's kind of like, "Yo, is she okay?" She kept waving around like, "I'm fine, I'm fine." Finally, she coughed something up and spit it on the floor and went right back to eating with her date. Anyways, so I grew up in New Hampshire. And that kid was so weirded out. He's like, "What was that? Also, gross. Also, what did you spit out?" And he got a closer look. What the heck? Sitting there, covered in her mucus and food on the floor, was one of those tiny plastic babies. What? And like I said, she was just casually eating again, like nothing had happened. And for the rest of dinner, the kid barely touched his food because could not figure out how that tiny baby got in there in the first place. That's weird. There was this kid that got in trouble right before the end of class. Teacher pulled him aside. "You're staying here. Do not leave this room until I dismiss you."
Okay.
Then the bell rang and everybody left except for him. And this kid wasn't even that mad because the class he had next was his least favorite class. The teacher's like, "I gotta grab something from the teacher's lounge. I'll be back." So he's sitting there, 5 minutes go by, then 10 minutes. Teacher's still gone. And at this point, he could have easily left. But the teacher specifically said, "Do not move until I release you." 20 minutes later, a kid who had went to the bathroom looked inside his classroom and said, "Hey bro, I thought you were supposed to be in science." And all he says is, "Oh, I'm being punished." Now the period's almost over. He missed the entire class. Finally, the teacher comes back in, sees him sitting in that exact same spot.
Oh my God, you're still here.
Told me not to leave.
Oh my God.
He had completely forgot about him. You see, he had a free period, so when he went to the teacher's lounge, he probably took a frickin' nap or something. And because he was the reason this kid missed science class when there was a test, he had to explain to that teacher why. Punishment or a blessing. This kid learned how to cut hair over the summer, and right before school started, he decided he needed to practice. So he texted a bunch of kids. "Free haircuts at my house tonight." And people showed up. The first kid,
Hey, can I get a fade?
he gave him a fade. It was horrible.
Just buzz it off.
The second haircut wasn't much better either. The third, not good. And then the fourth kid sat down. "All right, man, I'm ready."
All right, here we go.
And somehow, the dude absolutely nailed it. Perfect, clean lineup. Kid looks in the mirror and goes, "Wait, bro, this is actually sick." He then took a picture and sent it to everybody. And that changed everything. Everybody who saw the first 3 haircuts and were making fun of him were now asking for haircuts themselves. By 10 p.m., there's a line of kids out front, everyone's sitting, waiting their frickin' turn. And when it got dark out, his dad brought out his huge lights.
There you go, buddy. Now you can see.
He kept cutting and he didn't finish until after midnight. The next morning at school, there's just tons of kids there with perfect fades and amazing haircuts. "Wow, Johnny, who cut your hair?"
Steven.
That's right. You gotta respect the haircut. This kid figured out how to turn junk at yard sales valuable. He would go to thrift stores and buy these old-looking things, like an ugly brass lamp, or a wooden box, a small statue. He got the stuff for like $3 or $4 each. Then he would go home and make these professional-looking cards, history cards, and kind of stain the paper to make it look old, and then like laminate it. It was these elaborate stories that he would make up, like, "This lamp belongs to a New York City hotel. During the 1940s, the president stayed here." And that's obviously not true, but a guy walked up.
Hey, this is a piece of history. I'll give you $30 for it.
Bingo, deal. Another one. "This box was found during the clean out of a 100-year-old farmhouse."
Hey, this one. I like it. I want it. 40 bucks.
None of the stuff was true. He was scamming the neighborhood every single time. His parents finally asked him,
Hey, how do you know all this stuff?
and he just said, I don't. I made it up. And they're like, bruh. And they made him stop that for good. But he made hundreds of dollars. And for that I say, gotta respect the hustle. This kid completely made up a holiday. He told all of his friends that September 18th was National Bring a Framed Self-Portrait to School Day. Now, obviously that wasn't real, but they started spreading it around the school. Now, what that means, framed self-portrait, was that the kids had to draw a picture of their own face and frame it, and then bring that to school. Well, it caught on, like I said, and everyone brought their framed self-portraits, except nobody actually made a good self-portrait. These kids were drawing the worst imaginable pictures of themselves. Giant heads, 50 teeth, a clown nose. Then they go to Dollar Tree and buy the cheapest frame they could find. Well, September 18th rolls around. Hundreds of kids walking through the school carrying their own uniquely horrible self-portraits in a frame. The teachers absolutely had no idea what was going on. Kids were putting their portraits on their desk like it was a family photo. Some teachers gathered everyone's portrait and lined it up against the windowsill during that class.
How nice is that?
Well, the school loved it so much. The school found out that it wasn't a real holiday, but they loved it so much that next year, during Spirit Week, Bring a Framed Self-Portrait was one of the official days. And that is kind of beautiful. There were these two friend groups that would kind of hang out with each other sometimes, but they were completely different. One group was super loud and rambunctious, always messing around, always getting kicked out of places. The other group was really chill. One day, one group said to the other group, Dude, we'll trade you Ryan for Jake,
our noodle.
The other group was like, deal. So they did it for 1 week. Ryan had to sit with the other group, hang out with them after school, got added to their group chat, and Jake did the same thing with Ryan's friends. Everybody thought it would last for a day because it would probably be awkward, except Ryan loved the other group, and Jake fit into his new group immediately as well. A couple days in, each group was like, hey, just so you know, dude, you're back with us on Friday. But Ryan and Jake were both like, we'll see. Friday comes. They meet up to officially reverse the trade, and both kids refuse.
I actually think I'm gonna stay here. Yeah, our noodle.
Now these guys were kind of like, what? This trade was a joke. And now they somehow permanently traded some of their best friends. Funniest part was, months later, a year later, when someone asks, so how did you guys officially become friends with Jake? They would just say, oh, he got traded to us. That's hilarious. 1 week, these two kids made a bet. They weren't allowed to spend any of their own money on the vending machines. If they wanted something from one, they had to pay for it using change they found on the ground. At first, they were finding a couple of quarters, and then they got really good at finding these coins. You see, they were only allowed to use change they found when they were together, so they couldn't cheat. Well, they found out where to find the most coins. Under the vending machines, between the library couch cushions, behind the bleachers, parking lot after school. Some days they would find $2. Then they would discover a new location. Other days they would find $5. Eventually, these kids weren't even walking normally anymore, and they weren't even getting stuff from the vending machines anymore. They were so glued to the ground, and they were so focused on finding quarters, that's all they could think about. Quarter, nickel, pickle. They could spot coins from like 20 feet away. Other kids were like, yo, what are you doing? They would tell them. Eventually, everybody started looking for coins. People were competing. By the time these two kids got bored of this whole thing, they got about $40 in coins. But for the next 2 weeks, these two guys noticed tons of other students doing the exact same thing they did. Too bad all the good coins were taken. This teacher had a rule for passing notes. It's a very common rule. If I catch you passing notes, I will take it and read it in front of the entire class. And obviously, these middle schoolers were writing stuff in these notes that they did not want to be read in class. So a group of kids came up with a system. They still passed their real notes, but every single kid in that class also kept a separate note folded in their pocket. This was the backup note, and every single backup note was specifically written about the teacher, but it was good stuff. Stuff like, honestly, I think Mrs. Taylor is the best teacher in school. Or, do you think she knows she's everyone's favorite teacher? So whenever the teacher caught someone passing notes, Ralphie, I saw that, give me it. Okay, here. Mrs. Taylor explains math so much better than any other teacher I've ever had. Oh, wait.
Well, that's a good note.
And it worked every single time. She never caught on, and she read notes a lot, and they were all about her. I think she just liked the praise. And honestly, those kids are genius.